Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. My stepsister tried to flirt with my husband. Little did she know that he used to be a big shot in the underworld. When she came over all dolled up again, my husband slammed a chopping knife on the cutting board. Revealing a hand with floral tattoos on his arm, he coldly asked, "What do you want for dinner tonight, dear? Should we get rid of this troublemaker?" My stepsister froze in place. I quickly interjected, "How many times have I told you grass carp is not an ocean product? Let's have spicy chopped fish head for dinner tonight. I had a sudden wedding at the beginning of the year. My husband Mike is 5 years older than me, with a harmless, handsome face. But when he rolls up his sleeves, his arm muscles are thicker than my thighs. I feel very safe with him. Everyone thinks I found a handsome guy, not knowing the truth. They are all deceived by his appearance. And my stepsister is one of those deceived. Because no one knows that my husband used to be a big shot in the underworld. He cleaned up his act in the past 2 years and started a legitimate business. A few days ago, I brought my husband home for Chinese New Year. He brought 3 large boxes of gifts along with 2 strong assistants following behind him. It was their first meeting. The presence of my husband and his assistants scared my biological father and stepmother. They thought someone had come to collect protection money. I asked him to keep a low profile, be quiet, and do more work. He glanced at his assistants behind him and explained, "These are my personal bodyguards." The dinner table was set. My stepsister, dressed to the nines, kept helping Mike with food, trying to impress him. She envied me. My sister dropped out of high school to work. She didn't have much education, yet she found such a great guy like my brother-in-law. I envy her, unlike me, who works hard training at the art school every day, afraid to eat more just to maintain my figure. I might only become a small star in the future, and may not even find a partner as good as my brother-in-law, she said, showing off by pinching her slim waist. My stepsister, Mary, was brought by my stepmother. Our 2 families are from divorced and remarried families. A few years ago, my mother died of uterine cancer. Shortly after my mother's death, my father quickly got together with Mary's mother downstairs in a rushed wedding. But I never got along with Mary since I was young. We grew up together. She especially liked to compete with me. When I had braided hair in primary school, she also braided hers the next day with an extra bow. In middle school, a boy who had a crush on me gave me a love letter. She intentionally wore a floral dress in front of him, saying bad things about me, claiming I was dirty and didn't bathe. Seeing the boy flee in embarrassment, she smirked to herself. Later, when I wanted to go to art school in high school, she followed suit and applied. She cried pitifully, saying she didn't dare to ask for much. If her real father were around, he would definitely be willing to send her. At that time, my father was already with her mother. Art school tuition was very high. Our family could only afford to send one person. My father feared being accused of favoritism by my stepmother. He gritted his teeth and sent Mary to art school while I, his biological daughter, went to vocational school. I sneered and dropped out of school going to work. Later, I brought a boyfriend home, whom she also stole from me. At this moment, when Mike heard Mary's words, he put down his chopsticks with a bang. He frowned slightly but didn't say anything. Immediately, the 2 assistants standing like gatekeepers at the door walked over. One of them directly overturned his bowl on the table. "Sorry, our big brother is a neat freak and doesn't like anyone except his wife to serve him food. He's disgusted by saliva." Mary was stunned, her face full of embarrassment. She looked at Mike plaintively. "What's wrong with your staff? I'm not a stranger." Mike didn't say a word, just pointed his knee with his finger. The other blonde assistant immediately pulled out a chair. Pointing at Mary, he shouted, "Also, move your feet from under the table away from the big brother's legs. He hates others spreading foot odor to him." I heard this and immediately lowered my head. I noticed that Mary's foot was reaching under my chair, trying to touch Mike's leg. In the dead of winter, with no air conditioning at home, she was wearing ultra-short shorts, exposing her fair legs. I had to admit Mike's 2 assistants had sharp eyes. They even noticed in such a cramped space. Mary was instantly dumbfounded. After all, this trick of hers always worked. It's not something that a normal person would point out directly. Everyone in the family stared at her. She was so embarrassed that she immediately explained, Brother, have you all misunderstood something? If you don't like me serving food, it's okay. I know my sister is usually petty, but I really didn't mean anything by it. My stepmother immediately spoke up. Mike, this is Mary's goodwill. She usually looks down on everyone, never being so gentle and caring. It's just a kind gesture. Did Ivy say something to you to cause your brothers to misunderstand? My father also chimed in. Yes, our table is small. Bumps are inevitable. Don't think too much about it. Mary is just caring for her brother-in-law. As I watched my father and stepmother's behavior, I couldn't help but sneer. Mary had done this kind of thing not just once or twice. They had always turned a blind eye, and they weren't different now. As soon as they finished speaking, Mike unbuttoned his shirt with a somewhat amused smile. I was about to get angry at my father's words, but he patted my shoulder. Then he pulled out a folding knife from his pocket. Twirling it between his slender fingers, half smiling, he said, Ivy has told me everything about the family. Let me make it clear to you all. Ivy is my wife. If you still want to bully her in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless. With that, he stopped twirling the knife and firmly inserted it into the dining table. Sneering at the three of them, he said, Respecting you as elders, I won't speak any dirty words. If you don't want trouble, don't let your attention wander to my wife. Mike's move was so bold that it dazzled everyone present. My father opened his mouth, his face red with rage, wanting to say something. But before he could stand up, he saw Mike's two assistants standing behind him. Infuriated and trembling, he yelled, How dare you? How could you find such ruffians? I cleared my throat and grabbed Mike's solid arm. Ruffians, Dad? Don't talk nonsense. Mike is a decent businessman. He is honest with me. Except for some remnants of his past as an underworld boss, he has no other flaws. Mary and my stepmother's faces turned so ugly it could have dripped ink. They probably couldn't continue eating that meal. Mike didn't say much as the conversation had ended. Since it was late, he said, It's getting late, you should rest early. I'll take Ivy home. With that, he wrapped his arm around me and walked away. Just as we got down and got into the car, I saw Mary standing on the balcony watching us. Her expression was furious. Soon after, I received a message. Ivy, it's not over between us. I must have this man. There's no cat in the world that doesn't steal fish. Just you wait and see. I sighed and shook my head. Mary really has no idea who my husband is. Isn't she afraid of having her legs chopped off and thrown to the fish? I showed the message to Mike. Looks like my stepsister has set her sights on you. When are you planning to steal fish? Mike also saw it but didn't make eye contact. Instead, he lightly pecked my lips. Then he pushed me into the car. He handed me the woolen coat his assistant had given him. It's cold outside. The car has air conditioning. Don't catch a cold. After saying that, he paused and a fierce smile appeared on his face. Oh, she doesn't know that this cat is capable of eating people. I stared at Mike inexplicably, shivering. Our acquaintance was also quite accidental. One winter night a year ago, I was working at a convenience store. Late at night, Mike walked in with snow and wind. He had 3 or 4 people trailing behind him, giving off a mafia-like vibe. He was wearing a light brown windbreaker with the collar pulled up high, exposing only half of his sharp face. Under the windbreaker there seemed to be something hidden. When he entered, I immediately smelled a strong scent of blood. I stared at him for a while, shivering in fear. Could it be that I was going to be robbed in the middle of the night? Nowadays, it's all electronic payments, right? He can't steal cash. Will he just take me out? Do you have any medicine for colds? He asked hoarsely. This is a convenience store, not a pharmacy, I replied. He responded with a grunt and ended up just buying a packet of chewing gum. As he turned to leave, there were drops of blood wherever he passed. I was so scared that my hand was already poised to press the emergency button. Just then I heard a faint meow. I glanced at him suspiciously. It seemed to be coming from him. Before I could react, a furry head popped out from under his coat. It was a cat, a Garfield cat. Its eyes were filled with curiosity and its nose was visibly runny. The man frowned and gently pushed the cat's head back into the coat. Don't make a fuss, he said. As they were about to leave, I inexplicably stopped him. Do you want to buy cold medicine for the cat? I asked. He turned around, his brows furrowed slightly. Then he nodded expressionlessly. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed like the cat was sick, not necessarily a cold, likely cat flu. It needed to be checked at a pet hospital. Bring it over so I can take a look. I had worked at a pet store for a while before, so I knew a bit about common cat diseases. Knowing he wasn't a bad person, I felt relieved. He looked at me with some skepticism but eventually handed over the little kitten to me. I watched him cautiously. I couldn't help but chuckle. Despite his appearance of a street tough, he turned out to be a cat lover. A tough man with a tender side. This person was interesting. I bonded with Mike over a cat. After that, I adopted the cat and learned that Mike was the owner of several nightclubs in the area. Well, it was his first time visiting, so he bought some sausages, wanting to send some over to apologize. I coldly chuckled, thinking of refusing. I had a falling out with my family and worked outside. Even though we were in the same city, my father never cared about me. He had never eagerly sent me sausages before. But then my father added, "Your mother's favorite was sausages, back then. All right, I'll send the address to you." After marrying Mike, he bought a small villa in the city. My father didn't know the address as they hadn't come to our wedding. "All right, we're going to visit a few relatives. Let Mary bring them over to you. She also wants to apologize to you." With that, he hung up the phone. I held the phone, feeling uncomfortable. Using family ties to deceive me? Was it just a ploy to get Mary my address? It seemed like my sister hadn't given up, still determined to win Mike over. Sure enough, within an hour, Mary came knocking on my door again. She was dressed in a figure-hugging skirt topped with a faux fur coat and wearing high heels. Seeing me open the door, she hesitated for a moment, collecting her flirtatious look. "Your place is hard to find. My feet ache from all that walking," she remarked. I gave her a half-smile. "If it's that difficult to find, why not send a same-city courier?" "How can I do that? I've come to apologize in person." I wasn't being polite. The other day, she had just entered without changing her shoes, leaving footprints on the wool carpet in the living room. She gave a glance around. "Is your husband not at home?" "He's out buying groceries," I replied, just as Mike came in carrying the groceries. As soon as he saw Mary, his eyebrows furrowed, and he gave me a questioning look. It seemed like he was asking me, "Why did you let this troublemaker into our house?" I shrugged. "I couldn't help it. She sticks like a plaster. You pretend to be a gangster and she's a magnet for it." Mary's eyes lit up when she saw Mike. She practically skipped over. But before she could take a few steps, she tripped and fell in front of us. She rubbed her legs awkwardly. "I think I sprained my foot, honey. Could you help me up?" I saw her legs almost splitting into a split, her underwear nearly exposed. Could it be any more obvious what she was up to? I rushed to help her up. "You're an adult. Can't even walk properly, tripping on flat ground. Shouldn't you get your brain checked at the hospital?" I tried to pull Mary up. She gritted her teeth and tugged hard in the opposite direction, as if we were playing tug of war. It seemed like she wouldn't get up unless Mike helped her. I looked at Mike for help, but his eyes never landed on Mary. He calmly went into the kitchen with the groceries, even putting on the cat apron I got him. I decided to ignore Mary too. Why bother with her? She's like a rash. Can't shake her off, even making you pretend to be a menacing boss. And now you're acting like a domineering CEO. Mary, feeling awkward, noticed that neither of us were paying attention to her. After a while, she picked herself up and fixed her hair before darting towards the kitchen. "Is it your husband who cooks at home? It must be hard for you working to support the family, then coming home to cook for my sister. When I have a husband, I won't let him cook for me. Cooking is women's work. Men shouldn't be in the kitchen," Mary said. Mike lit a cigarette, which he usually wasn't allowed to smoke at home, but he did when he was agitated. I knew then that things weren't going to be simple. He was about to snap. I discreetly positioned myself near the kitchen, ready to step in if he exploded. True to my instinct, Mike lit a cigarette and turned to look at Mary. Impatiently rolling up his sleeves, he slammed the knife down on the cutting board. His whole sleeve tattoo was now fully visible. "What's on the menu tonight?" "Let's cook this," he said coldly, looking at Mary. This must have been the first time he had really looked at her. But I could tell Mary wasn't pleased. Her gaze was fixated on his strong, tattooed arms and she stuttered, "See, cook." Her face went pale. Mike pulled the knife out and sized it up, smiling wryly at her. "In our house, my wife takes care of the outside. I handle the inside. Cooking, laundry, it's all me. I like taking care of my wife. Do you have a problem with that?" Mary was too shocked to respond. After a while, she managed to stammer, "I don't have a problem. I just feel sorry for my sister. It's not easy for you. You're not someone to me. Why should I pity you?" she faltered as Mike walked over with the knife. I quickly stepped in, handing him the fish from the basket. "I've told you so many times, grass carp is not marine fish. Let's have chopped pepper fish head tonight. My sister doesn't visit often. We should treat her well." I quietly pinched his waist and whispered, "You need to change these mobster habits. You're the man who aspires to be a law-abiding, perfect husband." Mike looked at me with a tinge of hurt, reluctantly putting the knife back and sneering slightly. I plucked the cigarette from his mouth and threw it out. Mary was still standing there in shock. I couldn't help but pull her away. "It's better to give up. Not all men fall for your tricks." Mary finally came to her senses. Her face was extremely uncomfortable, but she forced a smile. "Wasn't my brother-in-law just joking? He's really funny." I thought privately that if I hadn't intervened, she would have been in big trouble. Wondering what was wrong with Mary, any normal person would see that Mike wasn't a kind-hearted man. Yet she was still in my house. As Mike and I brought the food from the kitchen, we saw Mary on the balcony making a call. Although she lowered her voice, I managed to catch her words. "Don't worry, Mom. There was a small mistake here. There's no man I can't handle. I'm set on winning Mike. You didn't visit their house. You don't know they live in a big villa, bigger than our several homes. It's just that her husband seems a bit off, but rich people all have their quirks, it's normal. Ivy's not attractive. Why should she have such a good husband? She must have tricked him. Wait and see. I used to steal her boyfriends. Now I can steal her husband too. Men are all the same, right? I'm not coming back tonight. The hatred in my heart is unbearable." This Mary, indeed, she only went after Mike because of his money. Before meeting Mike, I had dated a boyfriend who was just an ordinary office worker. He was quite handsome and his words were pleasant. At that time, my father was hospitalized with appendicitis and called me to take care of him. I didn't want to go but ended up taking my ex-boyfriend to visit my dad. Mary was there at the hospital at that time while I was taking care of my father. Somehow, Mary managed to seduce my ex in front of me. When my dad recovered and was discharged, Mary was already cozying up to my ex-boyfriend. She even came to me saying we should break up. "Suri, sis." The brother-in-law said he fell in love with me at first sight and wants to be with me. "Hope you won't be angry." Angry? I wanted to strangle her. The spot I confronted her directly in front of my dad. If she had no shame, then we would all have no shame. But my dad, with a stern face, said, "If you can't keep a man, can you blame your sister? Reflect on your own problems." I was so angry I didn't go home for 2 years. Ironically, after Mary seduced my ex, she dumped him within a month, claiming he was too poor and that she was only after him to steal my boyfriend. I knew Mary wouldn't give up easily, but I wasn't foolish either. Alright, let me see how she succeeded last time. This time I'll see how she managed to steal a man from me. I don't care about men, she can seduce. "Mary, dinner's ready." I slammed the dishes heavily, and Mike happened to come out. Mary immediately hung up the phone, sitting at the dining table cautiously. She volunteered to help serve the food diligently. I noticed she had taken off her coat, revealing a tight-fitting dress, the neckline almost plunging down to her cleavage. It seemed like when one plan failed, she turned to another tactic. I whispered to Mike teasingly, "How does she look? Pretty, huh?" But Mike grabbed my hand, placing it on his abdomen. In a low, husky voice, he said, "What's so good about her? Her chest is nothing compared to my abs. Look at her. She's not even worth looking at." Mary seemed oblivious to our little interactions and coquettishly said, "I'm here to apologize. That day it was all my fault. I said nasty things to my sister, I didn't mean it. So here, I'll offer you a drink in place of my sister, brother-in-law." Mike didn't even glance at her. Instead, he quickly served me food, saying, "I know you like spicy, so I got fish head made with pickled peppers for you to taste." I glanced at Mary and purposely remarked, "Oh, it's a bit salty. Did you put too much salt?" And then tossed the fish head back into Mike's bowl. Mike furrowed his brows. "Salty? Let me taste it." He tasted it without a word and made no complaints. Mary seemed to notice something, saying in surprise, "I think the dish isn't salty at all. The taste is just right. Brother-in-law, you're a great cook, but is my sister's taste too picky?" After all the dishes were prepared meticulously by brother-in-law. How could my sister be so critical? "Oh, it's my fault that it's too picky. Honey, do you think the dish is salty?" Upon hearing my words, Mike put down his chopsticks. "Yes, it's salty, my fault. There's an annoying person here influencing the food. It's my mistake for adding salt. I'll remember next time." Mary realized the annoying person referred to her. Her face turned unpleasant. I nodded in satisfaction. Mary put down her chopsticks, propping her chin on her hand and staring at me keenly. Suddenly, she smiled gently. "Sister, you still love spicy food so much. I remember you didn't like spicy food before. It seemed like your ex liked spicy food, and you changed a lot because of him insisting on marrying only him. And Mom and Dad couldn't do anything about it." Mary finally played her trump card, mentioning my ex in front of my current husband. Any man with fire in his belly, he wouldn't stand for it. This move of sowing discord was indeed poisonous. Furthermore, when did I stop liking spicy food and making changes for an ex? Unsurprisingly, the smiling face on Mike's face gradually faded. He raised an eyebrow slightly and looked at me. "Oh, you couldn't eat spicy food before? You learned it because of your ex? No one else but him?" My scalp tingled, and I was about to explain when Mary seemed to see her scheme working. She continued to exaggerate, covering her mouth dramatically. "Oh, did I say something wrong? Brother-in-law, please don't be angry with sister because of this. She didn't mean anything. The ex was even asking for your sister's contact info last month. It seems he's still obsessed with her. I really admire my sister. She's always had men around her from childhood. Am I a piece of such *T? Always surrounded by men?" Seeing Mike not even eating anymore and silently sitting beside me, I immediately countered. "Mary, it's funny that I didn't bring up this topic, yet you did. Regarding my ex, wasn't he the one you seduced in the hospital bathroom? Do I need to spell out what you did there?" Mary looked stunned, probably not expecting me to say it aloud. I have a mouth. I didn't clarify misunderstandings. Did I want my husband to misunderstand me? He trusts me because he loves me, but I couldn't take advantage of his love. I was about to throw the plate at Mary's face, but Mike stopped me. Standing up, his 188 centimeters tall frame exuded pressure. He gazed at Mary, circumvented the table and walked over, each step powerful. "Do you know what I do?" Mary stuttered, "Do? What do you do? Brother-in-law, aren't you in business?" Mike chuckled, rolled up his sleeves, revealing a tattooed arm. "You probably don't know. I was in the underworld before I entered business. I specialize in handling those who gossip. Usually, we prefer breaking legs and dumping them in the sea. Besides, regardless of how many exes Ivy had before or how many men pursued her, it's because my Ivy is outstanding. She's not like you, spreading rumors or seducing men. She chose me to be with her. It's the blessing I've earned for 8 lifetimes. So can you leave now? If you dare come near again, I won't hesitate to return to my old ways and break you." With each word Mike uttered, Mary's face turned more unpleasant. At that moment, my cat emerged from the bedroom, only to land right at Mary's feet, bristling its fur. As if it had seen an enemy, it let out a fierce meow. Mary was already terrified and instinctively said, "Go away, don't come near me." The poor cat cried out in response. The next moment I saw Mike, his eyes were cold. He grabbed Mary's wrist and twisted it slightly. Mary let out a severe scream before realizing what was happening. Mike had already grabbed her by the nape and tossed her out the door along with the sausages she brought. Everything was thrown out. I was stunned. Mike had always been very gentle with me after we got married, occasionally saying a few rough words. Although he always had his henchmen around, he never resorted to violence in front of me. It was the first time I saw him with such a cold face, being so merciless. He looked at me with a somewhat softened gaze. He walked over, carried me on his shoulder, and headed to the bedroom. Closing the door, he loosened his collar. Now you need to explain to me about this ex you couldn't live without. Tell me his story. His fingers caressed my collarbone, his eyes carrying a hint of danger. I tried to explain, but he sealed my lips with his breath gentle. Speak now or I'll continue. He was just a scumbag, not worth mentioning. We cut off contact a long time ago, I pleaded, and Mike smiled slightly. Not enough. I looked up at him. I shouldn't have let Mary into our home. Later, I condensed the incident and shared it in a 500-word summary. Big brother Mike listened without saying a word, just lighting a cigarette. So what, are you going to find someone to do what to me? Ditch my wife? Are you getting bold now? Don't start talking about taking down people, tossing them in the sea. You've washed your hands of that life. Though I wasn't sure if Mike was actually involved in such things. If he went down that route, I'd end up visiting him in prison. He ruffled my hair. Don't worry, if I quit that business, it means I don't have any murder cases. But about that Mary, if you don't want her bothering you again, I can have a chat with my boys. Shall I? I pursed my lips and shook my head. Mary is bothering you, not me. Mike looked at me helplessly. With a big hand he tucked me into his arms. So someone's still yearning for your husband and you're not jealous? Don't you want me to deal with her? He seemed a bit upset. As long as you ask, I'll take care of it. I laughed. Of course I get jealous, but I know not everyone can seduce my man. Unsurprisingly, his face broke into a smile. He calmed down in an instant. Mary's drama had disrupted our meal, so I ordered takeout with my phone and absent-mindedly scrolled through my social media. I happened to see a post from Mary 2 hours ago. It showed a photo of her bandaged hand, looking like a pig's trotter. She even posted a selfie crying. To tell the truth, it's true and the guilt is mine. But it was for justice's sake. I didn't want others to be kept in the dark. Yet in the end, it's me who was hurt. As soon as I closed my phone, my father called. I glanced at it and turned on flight mode immediately. If I could, I'd want to block him from contacting me. The only reason he would call is to scold me on behalf of his precious stepdaughter. I couldn't even be bothered. The next day, Mike told me with a grim expression that Lulu was missing. What? Did she run into that room? Have you looked carefully? Mike's face was especially gloomy. No, when I poured the cat food for her, I called for a long time, but she didn't come over. I searched everywhere and didn't see her. Lulu was the cat Mike and I raised together, a Garfield. We also met through Lulu. Although we had only been raising her for a year, both Mike and I treated her as our own child. Especially Mike, he was a cat slave. At this moment I saw his expression turn ugly and panicked for a moment, then reacted immediately. I checked the surveillance camera at the door, and then contacted the security guards of the community to see if she had run out of the window. Lulu had no survival skills outside, so we had to find her quickly. We split up. Mike went to contact the property management, and I searched the outside garden. After an hour, we still had no clue. The surveillance cameras at our door happened to be under maintenance these days. Mike directly called a dozen guys. Those guys thought Big Brother was going to bring them to fight, so they were all spirited, either carrying baseball bats or holding chair legs. But Mike solemnly said, "Today's mission is to find the cat." We launched a carpet search in the community. I thought he only had 2 little brothers left by his side. I didn't expect him to call another 10. But I didn't have time to talk about this now. Finding Lulu was the most important thing. But we searched all over the community and didn't see her. Mike was getting impatient and ready to kill someone. I, on the other hand, calmed down and suddenly asked, "Do you think Lulu was taken by someone?" Mike quickly realized the possibility and squinted dangerously. "Your stepsister. I suspect she took Lulu. Yesterday you had a conflict with her. She's a grudge holder, so when she left, she intentionally took Lulu away." This guess made sense. I immediately called Mary, but she didn't answer. Mike couldn't sit still and said directly, "I'll drive to your dad's house to find her. You wait for news at home." I was afraid that his impulsive nature would lead to trouble. I wanted to go with him, but he said, "We offended her yesterday. Your dad is so biased. If you show up, he will definitely speak harshly. He can scold me, that's fine, but I can't let my wife suffer." After saying that, without waiting for my response, He went to the garage to get the car. He left with a group of people. I was worried that something would go wrong. As soon as Mike left, someone called me. It was an unknown number, but Mary's voice came through. "Oh, sister, it's me." I suddenly remembered something I didn't tell you. I couldn't be bothered with her chatter. "Did you steal Lulu?" Mary exaggeratedly said on the phone. "What? Lulu? Are you talking about your cat? I was going to tell you when I left yesterday. I saw your cat climbing out of the window. I wanted to kindly return it, but guess what happened? It scratched me. I was so angry. I kicked it and it ran away." The moment Mary spoke on the phone, I pressed the record button. I suppressed my anger and asked, "What did you do to my Lulu?" "Not much. I kindly went to help you find the cat, and now the cat is with me." "Come and get it," Mary replied. Indeed, the cat was with Mary. Seeing that she couldn't hook up with my big brother, she actually took my cat to use it. "Great, I'm going to your place now." "Oh, I'm not home. Yesterday I went to the hospital for a vaccination, and now I'm at my friend's house." "I'll send you the address," she said before hanging up. I quickly received the location she sent to me. I immediately called Mike, letting him know to come back first as Mary took Lulu, and she even kindly let me come to get it. Mike's phone rang for a long time and he finally found it at home. He left without his phone. Seemed like he was really in a hurry. Mary sent another message. "Sister, hurry or I will throw the cat off the balcony because it's really naughty." She even attached a photo of Lulu. I couldn't help but have the urge to curse someone. "You better ensure Lulu is safe. Otherwise, next time it won't be your arm that Big Brother twists. It will be your thigh." Saying that, I immediately went out to hail a cab. Since Mike went to my dad's house, I would be able to contact him later by giving my dad a call. I quickly arrived at the address Mary provided, but I found the neighborhood she mentioned looked a bit familiar. Felt like I had been here before. I knocked on the door according to the house number. The door was quickly opened, but it wasn't Mary who answered. It was a man. Looking at the somewhat familiar face in front of me, I was confused for a moment. Tentatively, I asked, "Peter?" He looked at me, smiling warmly. "Ivy, I didn't expect to see you here. Come in." I stared at him suspiciously, standing still at the door. Indeed, Peter was the ex-boyfriend whom Mary had taken away from me at the hospital over a year ago. How come he was the one opening the door? Why did Mary provide Peter's address? What was she up to? "Is Lulu at your place?" Peter glanced at me and nodded. "Are you talking about that Garfield?" "It's indeed here in my house." I immediately pushed him aside and walked in. Peter calmly closed the door. However, after searching the living room, I didn't see a trace of Lulu. "Where's the cat?" Peter didn't say a word and poured me a glass of water, looking at me gently. "What cat?" Angry, I wanted to slap him. "You just said the cat was here. Are you colluding with Mary? What's the meaning of kidnapping my cat?" Peter continued to play dumb. "I was just kidding with you. You misunderstood. Actually, Mary did leave the cat here. She had a conflict with you recently and didn't dare to see you. She thought you would be angry if she took the cat away, so she left it with me." As he spoke, he took out a cat carrier from the bedroom, and my Lulu was curled up inside. I immediately snatched it and held Lulu tenderly in my arms. Seeing that Peter didn't seem to have any malicious intent, my expression imp, I wanted to leave with the cat, but he grabbed my hand hesitantly. "Ivy, I'm sorry for what happened back then, and I haven't forgotten about you since we broke up." I stared at him. "Are you crazy?" Peter suddenly became more enthusiastic. He pulled me into his arms. "I regretted it, and I've never forgotten you since we broke up. Although I've had several girlfriends after that and tried to forget you, I realized you were the only one who was sincere to me. The others were just for fun. Let's get back together, Ivy. Can't forget me? It's been over a year since we broke up. You've had several partners since then, and you've done disgusting things with Mary. I won't even mention that. But how do you have the nerve to ask to get back together with me? Besides, I'm already married now." I looked at him disdainfully and stepped on his foot. He winced in pain and let go of me. My cat, Lulu, also seized the opportunity and pounced on him, leaving 3 claw marks on his face. If he pretended to be gentle before, now his face was contorted in anger. He glared at me, saying angrily, "You have no face to spare. What are you pretending for? Mary told me everything. After you broke up with me, you found a thug as a husband. You intentionally lost the cat and let Mary bring it over just to have an excuse to reconcile with me, didn't you?" I was so angry that my head was spinning. How was I so blind to have found such a troublemaker as a boyfriend? I should be grateful to Mary. If she hadn't broken us up, I might have ended up marrying this fake nice guy. Who do you think you are to act like you're giving me face? Aren't you denying it? Why did you show up late at night looking for the cat? Dressed so revealingly, just wanting to seduce me and reconcile. What's wrong? Your thug husband isn't enough for you? You acted so innocent back then, but this is who you are. His gaze fell directly on me without any disguise. Am I dressed too revealingly? Because Lulu was missing, I just wore pajamas and threw on a thin down jacket to come out. Is that revealing? Are you kidding me? I didn't want to argue with him and just wanted to leave. But he suddenly lunged at me. My cat also pounced, tearing at Peter's pant legs. Suddenly, at that moment, someone kicked Peter's door open. Yes, it was kicked. Peter and I were both stunned for a while. After 3 silent seconds, I suddenly shouted, "Help! Someone is trying to rape me." In the next moment, the security door was forcibly kicked open. Mike stood coldly at the door with a look of determination on his face. Even from a distance, I could feel his deadly gaze. Mary stood by his side, also taken aback by the situation. Mike and I exchanged glances. Neither of us said a word. Mary quickly realized what was going on. She exaggeratedly covered her mouth. "Sister, what are you doing? Coming to your ex-boyfriend's house in the middle of the night? We heard your cries even outside the door. How can you put your brother-in-law in such a situation? He has been searching for you frantically outside." Mary smirked triumphantly, looking at me. At that moment, I understood what she was up to. Failed seduction, stirring up trouble, stirring up misunderstandings with ex-boyfriends. That seemed to be her plan. I suddenly felt my eyes welling up and remained silent, pursing my lips. Mike strode in with a cold expression and grabbed my hand directly. Mary, not giving up, said, "Brother-in-law, please don't lay a hand on my sister. This must be a misunderstanding. While my sister may have liked Peter before, she is married now and should know her place. They definitely haven't done anything, but even if they did, for my sake, please don't pursue this, okay?" As Mary finished speaking, Mike raised his hand and slapped her. The slap was powerful, and Mary spun around before falling to the ground. Blood gushed from her nose and she looked at the blood on her hands, suddenly screaming, "You hit a woman!" The next moment, Mike glanced at her and said, "Why should women have the privilege of not being hit? I don't hit women, but you are not a woman." Mary was stunned, covering her mouth and unable to speak. Ignoring Mary, Mike turned to Peter. With a cold smile, he asked, "Brother, your turn now. Which part of you touched my wife earlier? Your hand, leg, or nose? Or was it your mouth?" As he spoke, he kicked Peter hard in the stomach, causing him to collapse in pain. Mike wasn't finished. He stepped forward and stomped on Peter's fingers, crushing them. With a hint of hostility in his eyes, he challenged, "Can't stand up? If you're that weak coming after a woman, you won't last 3 seconds with me." Peter was left bruised and swollen. Seeing this, I couldn't bear it anymore. I quickly moved to hug Mike and restrained him. "Be calm. If you kick him to death, you'll end up in jail and I'll become a widow. Let's not do anything foolish." Peter couldn't take it anymore and tremblingly called the police. Mike wasn't afraid. Soon his henchmen arrived, and he told me to leave the situation to them. Mike didn't say a word. He just took off his jacket and draped it over me. While fastening it, he whispered, "A second late, my love. Hope you're not angry." I expected Mike to be angry, so his apology made me feel embarrassed. "Sorry I called you, but you didn't have your phone. Next time I'll make sure to inform you before leaving." "Inform me? If I didn't show up, what would you do?" "Use your head. Bring my 2 henchmen with you when you go out from now on. Got it?" I nodded obediently, not daring to argue. If he wasn't angry, it was already a relief. Mary was probably dumbfounded by our conversation. "Are you insane? Your wife is cheating on you, yet you're protecting her." Without even looking up, Mike nonchalantly replied, "I trust that my wife loves only me. Besides, that man isn't worth my wife's attention." Mary wanted to say something more, but Mike's henchman promptly found a dirty cloth and stuffed it into her mouth, menacingly suggesting, "This woman talks too much and she even plotted against our sister-in-law. Should we take care of her?" Carrying me, Mike left Peter's house while giving a final word of advice before leaving. "Do the job quickly and cleanly. We are civilized people now, not thugs." I worriedly tugged at Mike's sleeve, but he reassured me. Back home, he mumbled to himself, "Is your husband impressive? Are they blind to think I'm not good enough?" I rose on my tiptoes and planted a kiss on his cheek. "My husband is the best." Curious about Mary and Peter's situation, I asked Mike if he had really taken care of them. Chuckling, Mike replied, "I follow the law, how could I do such a thing?" I felt relieved. Days later, relatives gossiped about Mary's dismissal from art school. She had bullied classmates and attempted to seduce film directors' assistants to get roles, which backfired when videos of her misconduct surfaced online. She was permanently expelled from school, ending her dreams of becoming a star. Peter got arrested on attempted rape charges. My father and stepmother sought Mike's help to resolve Mary's predicament. They were turned away when seeking assistance. Curious if Mike had orchestrated it, I asked him, but he simply shrugged, reading a book at home with his cat. Civilized law enforcement, civilized revenge violence solves nothing. Poking fun, I said, "Wow, my husband is now a cultured man." Glancing at me, he replied nonchalantly, "For you, I'm willing to become a cultured man." I praised his ambition and promised to reward him with a steak dinner. As I rolled up my sleeves to cook, Mike noticed my tattooed sleeve, which surprised him. "Why did you get a tattoo sleeve?" I joked. "Just keeping up with the trends. Besides, I am the wife of a gang leader." He fell silent for a moment before confessing, "I made a foolish mistake when I was young. I got scammed into getting a tattoo. I didn't dare to tell you." "What?" He held me close and whispered, "But I have no objections to what my wife does. I spoil you." I gazed at him, feeling emotional, leaning my head on his shoulder. He truly knew how to handle things. I felt lucky to have him,